Do you want to move your life forward in the most positive way using astrology? Then let's talk about the astrological patterns for June 2021. The month opens up with Mercury Retrograde in Gemini, which is a very, very powerful transit because Mercury rules that sign. But we need to remember that the Mercury Retrograde part began May 29th and will end on June 22nd. We have to remember the larger cycle, which is the fact that Mercury entered Gemini in early May and stays in the sign until July 12th. So we have this nearly 2-month pattern of Mercury in Gemini, and that is a long time to have our minds super stimulated, to have this open channel to the universal consciousness, to information, to new ideas, to clarity of thought. Now, I would like to imprint within you that this can be phenomenally productive, and I would, of course, like to release all the really scary, negative programming that flows around Mercury retrograde. Things don't need to break. Your communication doesn't need to be messed up. You can have breakthroughs. You can have positive, new, creative ideas. You can get clarity in information during Mercury retrograde, especially this one. So the time frame from the 1st of June until the 22nd of June is an internalization process where you get to rethink, where you get to reorganize some thoughts, be productive, pay attention to what new ideas pop in. This is important because Mercury is actively working with Neptune, and Neptune is in Pisces, and that opens the door to other dimensional information. And what I mean by that really is that we can tap into the infinite mind through other dimensions, which means our intuitive senses. So we have this beautiful, beautiful mixture of energy with our intellect and our ability to look at facts and our ability to analyze, plus inspired visionary thinking that flows through higher senses. Use them both. Don't just limit yourself to only the three-dimensional laws, because Neptune is trying to make a presence here. And that is echoed by the fact that we have Jupiter in Pisces right now. Pisces is a Neptune-ruled sign. And this beautiful Gemini and Mercury energy comes to a head on June 10th when we have the new moon in Gemini, which is also an eclipse. So this one is wonderful, and I highly recommend that you are actively involved in moving through information by combining physical activity with your thinking. So that may be a walking meditation, that may be a swimming meditation if you are a swimmer, or a running meditation, something where you are involving movement and creating what I call a lateral vortex of energy, so that it keeps your thoughts moving forward, so that you open up to those higher divine channels. That new moon in Gemini on June 10th, which is an eclipse, you might have incredible opportunity to have sudden clarity, write it down, and be proud. But it's also a time to adjust your belief systems. If there's ever a time for super powerful affirmations, it is the month of June. Because right after this new moon in Gemini on June 10th, we have the exact Saturn-Uranus square. It's the second square. This is an ongoing aspect that's happening all year, and it's very revolutionary, and it's trying to move everything forward. It's trying to release stagnation. Now, we can certainly see that happening in the world, but I'm talking to you personally, you and your own soul. Where do you have stagnation? Where do you have stuck beliefs that are no longer serving you? You need to ask yourself, what do you really believe? Because your beliefs become your reality. And then I would ask you, how's that belief working out for you? If you have a belief that people are unfriendly, if you have a belief that life is very difficult, if you have a belief that Mercury retrograde sucks and always things break down, you get to be right about all of that. And I would say, how's that working out for you? And you might say, it's really not. And I'd say, so change it. And that's what this new moon in Gemini followed by Saturn square Uranus, is all about. Make a decision, change your habits, and clarify your thinking. And do this so that when we get to the middle part of July and Mercury completes this transit, you are in a new, spectacular, clear, positive place where you have altered your beliefs and shifted them to a higher level. Toward the end of June, we have a full moon in Capricorn. That's on June 24th. This is important because during that full moon, we're going to have Venus in opposition to Pluto. So we're going to be in the middle of this change period with our thinking. This is going to be after Mercury has just finished the retrograde. But that full moon is when you add your heart and your emotions and your core inner empowerment to these new ways of thinking that you have developed during the retrograde period. Okay, so there is this passion, there is this solidity, and this absolute conviction that you are indeed powerful. So to summarize the astrological patterns for June, just remember this Mercury retrograde is fabulous. This Mercury retrograde will work in your favor. Say it after me. I would like to embed that into the world. That's my particular opinion. People argue with me, but that's what I believe. So Mercury stays retrograde until the 22nd of June. Remember, we're going to have this peak concentration of all that Gemini energy at the new moon in Gemini on June 10th. So at that sort of middle of the month time frame, be actively engaged in affirmations and thinking more positively and making adjustments. And then watch for the full moon on the 24th in Capricorn to solidify and structure your thinking and your patterns, but also to empower, to feel really, really strong, unshakable, to be the indomitable spiritual being that you are, who is free and who is thinking for themselves. So I'm wishing you a spectacular Mercury and Gemini transit. Thank you. I'm Kathy Rose.